2,700 years ago, the nation or the empire of Assyria invaded the northern kingdom of Israel and destroyed it and dispersed tens of thousands of Jews living in the northern kingdom of Israel. They were scattered all over the world, and when we read the prophets, we do see that. God will regather them from the four corners because they have been scattered. And in our time, especially since the rebirth of the modern state of Israel in 1948, we have seen millions of Jewish people come back. And one of the amazing things is a nation called Ethiopia. We know it as in the Bible as a nation called Cush. And did you know that Jewish people were dispersed to Cush? And so there's been a Jewish community living in Ethiopia who they believe, and through scholars believe, are descendants of the tribe of Dan. They have been there for 2,700 years. And then in the 1970s, they literally began to walk back to Israel. Tens of thousands. They went through a horrific period of time as many thousands were captured and put in Sudanese refugee camps. And there are heroic, incredible feats of miraculous tales where Israel airlifted by the thousands of these people and rescued their lives from the 1970s into the 80s and 90s. And now we find ourselves in the 2000s, and the final remnants of the tribe of Dan are returning to Israel. Now, currently in Israel, there's about 150,000 Ethiopian Jews living here, but there are still thousands remaining in Ethiopia. And this January of 2023, Bridges for Peace had an incredible invitation. We have supported for years Karen Hayesod, and Karen Hayesod works with the Jewish Agency to bring Jewish people back from all over the world. We were invited to go to Ethiopia and see the original Jewish villages in Gondar, and to visit the community, go to their synagogues, see how they lived, and see the extreme poverty, to go visit their synagogues, to go visit even some of the older abandoned Jewish villages of Jewish people that had come to Israel in the 70s, but also to visit NGOs and absorption centers and places where over 1,500 Ethiopian Jews are being cared for and prepared to make Israel their home, to come home. This is something absolutely miraculous and prophetic. It touched me deeply, although to see the extreme poverty, to see the hope on their faces, and to speak into their lives and say, you're coming to Israel soon. But it costs lots of money. And these were people that, many of them living in mud dwellings, dirt floors, no electricity, no plumbing, extremely poor, but anticipating the return to Zion. And so I found myself with this delegation looking at this whole situation, impacting their lives and having my own life impacted and blessed, and then boarding an aircraft with 95 Ethiopian Jews out of Addis Ababa and flying into Israel. Before the plane even touched the ground, an explosion of clap and singing and praising God as the wheels of that aircraft touched the runway, and everybody just burst out into jubilation. This is prophetic. And how we all came off the airplane and they went into Terminal 1, and within less than 2 hours they were made citizens. People kissing the ground, they had come home. Now for the remaining of this year, who is left in Ethiopia? Israel is anticipating the arrival of 1,500 Ethiopian Jews. They are going to, or expected to arrive in Israel by June or July. And then when you really look at it, the tribe of Dan will be home. This is prophetic. You're a part of it. And so I encourage you to pray for them, to pray over their adjustment. It is not easy. They are scattered around the country in 18 absorption centers receiving help. But we get to touch these lives. We get to impact these lives. And these people will find out and know that Christians stood in the gap from all over the world and made it possible for the tribe of Dan to come home after 2,700 years in exile.